Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Samir.
Hi Samir, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
2 minutes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Okay, so so we were discussing about EC2. We are done storage, networking, database. Did we started IAM, identity access management, or not?
Completed.
I am completed, I think.
I
Samir.
am completed. Storage
Okay.
was not done.
Okay.
Uh,
And okay. And load balancers?
no, sir.
No. Okay. Okay. EC2 done, networking done, database done, IAM done, storage is pending, and load storage for which?
No, storage is completed, but the load balancer is pending.
Okay. So for who
Load
all
by storage
storage
is not
is
complete.
Samir, database completed actually last week. Database I was there, but due to some problem with network, the database I didn't hear much. So it will better if I have another class because something I didn't understand a little of those things.
okay, okay. No
Sir,
problem.
storage is not done in this batch.
Samir,
Uh,
Samir, actually, I have find out the following. I did not recover. Maybe the team has already covered. I'll read out: AWS, SQS, SWF, and SNS. This
okay.
I did not
Okay,
cover.
okay. No problem. That will
Same
be
here as
covered
well.
in load
Elastic
balancers.
cache, Samir, elastic cache, tips on the elastic cache, and DevOps, like services and what kind of those topics.
Okay,
Elastic
that will
Beanstalk.
come in the last I'll tell. So how many people storage didn't completed in this in this present group of 23 people? Anybody? Can you
I'm
tell me the
Nishant here.
names? One is
Nishant.
Nish, one is
Not
Nishant,
done, sir.
one
Not
is
done, sir.
Nishant, one is Nishant. Who is the other people who is left with the storage?
Show me
Uh,
the
Pratik Shelar.
Pratik Seller. Okay. Then
show me the
Soumik Dutt. Okay. Then
Is this about all the storage or only the load balancing?
no. Only the storage. All the storage. Who has not listened the storage topic?
Even Renita, sir.
Renita. Okay. Renita.
Samir, this is Snehal.
Who is the other one?
Snehal.
Nehal. Okay. Who is the other one? Sanjay. Okay. So what I'll do is that tomorrow morning 8:30, 8:45, I will send you a link in this group. Whoever has not attended storage can attend there. Okay. Don't
Okay, sir.
forget tomorrow 8:30, I will send you the link in the same group. Whoever has missed the storage can attend there.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. And now we are starting with a concept called as Route 53, which is called as DNS. Okay. It is the new topic, which is called as DNS. What is the topic we're discussing right now? It is
I'll
called
call
as
you.
Route 53.
Samir,
Once free, then call you.
Samir,
Yes.
database not completed, Samir. Like last week, you're done with Elastic Cache, the T2 Redis.
Mm-hmm.
Still DynamoDB, Redshift,
No,
and storage.
DynamoDB, I have told you, I have already completed the theory.
No.
Redshift and other things are basically, as I told you, right? It is purely DevOps module where it is warehousing and all will be for the automation and for the developers. It is, as I told you, RDS, Relational Database Service. There we covered SQL Server, we covered MySQL, and in the non-relational database, Elastic Cache, which I have covered. And as a theory, I have covered you the DynamoDB theory, which in the starting of the class which I have covered you, and I told you that's the overview. Redshift and other things is basically for the developers, not for us.
Okay. What about Lab, Samir? DynamoDB?
No, you cannot do the DynamoDB labs because the thing is that for that you should have an application integration and developer knowledge.
Okay, fine. And another three topics like snapshot, restoring snapshots, and multi-ASA development deployment.
That, as I told you, that's an exercise for you, which I showed you already, like how to create the database, how to configure the database, how to give the connectivity. So you need to do that snapshots. If you're failing, if you're not able to create the snapshot, it's just go to the database console, right click and create a snapshot. If you're failing in that, if you're not able to do by yourself, then let me know, I'll show you.
Okay, fine. I think it will be better like if you just go and go on to the course content or the module, what it is being showed.
Okay. No, but see, as I told you, if you go with the course module, there are so many things are there which are not a part of the module which I'm covering, which is very important for you as a point of an exam.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you take the okay, let me tell you one thing. Okay, so for example, if you take the first syllabus and the course module, you have only enabling credentials, access keys, security policies, creating users, and roles and principles. But we have defined the policies, we have defined the MFA integration, we have defined the what is this identity access model in the module. We have done pretty much more labs what is there in the course module. Okay, whatever is apart from top of that, we have gone and we have done. Okay, but if it's the same thing, if you see with your networking, it is there, there's only certain things are there in the course module, but we have done top of that. Okay, we have done cross region replications, we have done VPC peering in the single multiple availability zones. We have done certain topics are theory related, which you cannot do because there is a dependency on the developers also. Okay, so wherever there is a development dependencies are there, those are only for the knowledge purpose. So in that case only, as I told you, like whichever is related to the solution architect associate, that which is important to you, I've already covered. You have covered you NAT gateway exercises. I have covered you NAT instance exercises. I have covered you VPC peering. I have explained you about the snapshot creations. What you do in the EC2 snapshot is the same thing what you do in the your RDS snapshot. There's no difference. Right click, create snapshot in EC2. It is the same thing what you do in the database also. Okay, if you take the third learning path of your course curriculum, right? There it is only defined with load balancer, classic, and application. And there is no network load balancer has been defined that, but I'm covering that also. So what if you want to go with the course module, you'll have a limited knowledge. What I'm giving you is the real time, what is in the production, how exactly it will help you in the production. Okay, but if you go with the course module, you will only get the limited knowledge on the course only, course topic. You will not, you will end up with anything. So if you see the learning path of your database, okay, or if you see the learning path of your S3, so there is only static web hosting, acceleration is there, versioning is there, cross region replication is there, multi-part upload is there, lifecycle policies are there, which we have already tested it. Apart from it, we have already tested hosting it on the normal EC2 server also, and normal S3 server also, which are not part of your course. Okay, and we have seen the integration of that also, and we have checked the versioning also, we have checked the cross region replication also, where you can configure, and we have done a live website content also we have hosted. Okay, so there are so many things are there which are limited for your curriculum. If you want me to go with the curriculum, you will not get the real time knowledge what is required. Okay, the same thing if you go with the database. Okay, there is what is database service they mentioned about the RDS, they mentioned about the read replicas, which we already covered. They mentioned about the snapshots, they mentioned about the multiple availability zone deployment is nothing but when you configure the database, that time you need to configure something called as by providing two availability zones. So there is an option called multi availability zone selection when you create the database, which you already tested it. Okay, if you select multi availability zone, means nothing but you're deploying in the multiple availability zone. Okay, and regarding the DynamoDB, it's a theoretical concept because DynamoDB, in that I have showed you elastic cache. Okay, so AWS other services I have showed you elastic cache with the lab, but in the DynamoDB, Redshift is purely for the purpose you need to understand the theoretically how it works. Storage gateway I showed you the live lab because there the live lab which I showed you, because in the production you will have the use cases, but when it comes to DynamoDB and Redshift, it is for the purpose of data warehousing, where you need to have the application developer and the application is required to connect the connectivity purpose. So which is not which will not be useful for you, because as a if you are into development background and you have a development skills, it will help you. So wherever it is required, I have covered you, like Redis cache, Memcache, elastic cache. because that is possible, and that might be, say, they might be asking you question, how can you do on the server side? That's the reason I showed you. But if it is an application side, you will not be able to do unless you have the application. So based on that, I am covering wherever you need in the production. Okay, wherever the production requirement is there, I am covering. But if you ask me to go only as a theoretical, what is there in the course wise, you will end up with nothing.
Okay, fine, sure.
Okay, so because it around 20 years of experience, I know what exactly is required in the production. So basically based on that only I am teaching you. But if you want me to cover as a theoretical part, you will not end up anything. See, now you see that there is a topic which I'm going to start now. In the course content, it's only classic and application. Okay, there is one more load balancer called network load balancer. Okay, I already covered in other topics also. But if I don't teach you what is network, what will you understand within only these two?
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying? Okay,
Yes, I got it.
here they're showing they mentioned that launch configuration, bootstrapping, scaling grouping, scaling policies, and fault tolerance, high availability applications. If I only cover this without showing you the stress on the auto scaling lab live, what will you see the difference, how it is working?
Got it.
So there are certain things are there which is required as a production knowledge, which is not required, that we can go as an overview knowledge, means which has a dependence in the development, that you can go as an overview knowledge. Wherever it is required, definitely I'll help you with the production knowledge.
Fine, Samir. Thank you.
So, and in case if you are top of that, if you have any other things which are out of syllabus also, like kinesis is there, which is out of syllabus, and which nowadays people are asking in the interview questions. And there is one more service called as what is that, web firewall. Okay, and there is one more service called as AWS batch service, batches, which they are asking in the interview. Like this, there are certain services are there which are out of your topic, means which is out of your syllabus. Those things also, if you need, if you need, you can tell me that. Whenever you are preparing for that, you let me know. I will schedule a separate session for it, separately out of topic syllabus, like wherever it is required, like Dockers are there. Okay, those all comes on other services. Okay, so these all things are only 1 2 questions you will get. Means if you are having 67 questions, in that 3 4 questions they'll ask you in general. They will not ask you any labs or anything, just to check whether you have the skill set on the other service or not. So those things also I can cover you out of topics syllabus. But what is major for solution architect is 9 topics. What is that? EC2, S3, IAM, load balancer, Route 53, auto scaling, CloudWatch, CloudFront, SQS, SNS, SES. These are the major topics for your associate exam to clear. Now, other topics, what is that you need to know? You no need to do any labs, but you just need to have a knowledge is EMR, Elastic Map Reduce. A second one is ECS, Elastic Container Service. Third one is Cloud Formation. Fourth one is Elastic Beanstalk. Fifth one is called as your Elastic Cache, Redis and Memcache. These things along with Redshift and DynamoDB, you just need to know overview of the subject. That's it. You no need to know about the labs, because that is purely again for those labs. We have a separate curriculum called as AWS Developer Associate. There you will go in depth about those labs.
Okay.
You understood?
So Samir, in
Sir,
order
can you
to
write
clear
that
the global,
all-
sorry Nanjunda, sorry for the interruption. So my question is, in order to clear the global on CSOPs, only these 9 chapters are
Yes,
required.
enough. Yes, enough. If you want to clear the solution architect associate, what are the major topics? EC2, storage, networking, database, IAM, load balancers, auto scaling, CloudWatch, SQS, SNS, SES, CloudFront. These skills, what I told you, what services I told you, this is good enough to clear your associate level. Other services as a knowledge, not as a working knowledge, as a knowledge means like Elastic Beanstalk and Dockers or Cloud Formation, that is required as a knowledge purpose. So that maybe in if a one set of exam, you will get 3 to 5 questions out of topic. So because why they will ask you is that there are so many new services Amazon will keep on add. So they'll just test you whether you're aware about those services or not, but they'll not ask you something, as a scenario or anything like that. Hardly 5 to 6 questions you will get it just as an other services. But these 10 services, what I told you, is meant for your examination.
Sir, can you write down over the chat box all that topics which is mandatory?
Yes. I will give you that. Yeah.
Samir, before we prepare the global exam, prepare to sit on, do you have any share sample question and answers like?
So I will tell you now, just a matter of time. You all people have time, right? No problem, right? So let me tell you. Conceptual theory is different. Lab, what we are doing are different. Production scenarios are different. What you get in the examination is different. Four different things. And fifth one, when you go for an interview, what they ask you, that is again different. These all are five different varieties. Now, how can we club all together in a single page? So it is like this. When you go for an interview, there they will not ask you what you're, what you've learned and what you're there. What they'll ask you, they will ask you real-time scenarios. The one whatever I'm giving you the scenarios, right? I'm testing you. Last time we did a break fix issues, right, which you guys tested. Those kind of things are required for clearing your interviews. There nobody will ask you what is Docker, what is ECS. Nobody will ask you. Docker file is not getting loaded, what will you do? They'll ask you. Okay, nobody will ask you how to create an EC2 machine. They'll say that when you launch the EC2 machine, you're getting a blue screen. How do you fix it? They'll ask you. Okay, nobody will ask you what is VPC peering. They'll ask you, when I'm doing a VPC peering, one side it is communicating, other side it is not communicating. How will you fix it? They'll ask you. You understand what I'm trying to tell you, right? So like this, they will try to test your knowledge based on the troubleshooting skills when it comes to the production. Okay. When it comes to the exam, they will test you on the scenarios on whatever you have learned on different skill set. For that reason only, there are two options how to clear it. One is exam dumps. So AWS dumps are available. Okay, there are so many solution architect dumps are there. If you want, I can share you those dumps. Okay, I have shared for few people. If you need more, I'll share you, no problem at all. That dumps, if you prepare, there are around 400 to 500 questions. In that, 80% you can clear. 80 to 85% you will get the same question and answers. अगर आपकी तकदीर ठीक नहीं है, मैं कुछ नहीं कर पाऊंगा. Okay. if you are that time exam dump got changed, I can't tell, but 80 to 85% you will get in the same dumps. If you mug up and go, 80% pass guarantee, 20% our bad luck.
So what is the passing mark?
Your passing mark is more than 85%.
So the 5% is on luck only.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So these dumps, how do we acquire that one? Means
I will see whatever I have from the different promotric centers, which I have known people, I will share you that dumps. But I am only worried that you should not blame me if you failed. That I prepared these dumps, I have not got, I got only few questions from there. You should not tell. I can share, I can refer you the dumps, but only the thing is that there is no guarantee that only in that dump you might get. You might get 80 to 70 to 80%, but you need to study by yourself also.
No, Samir, that's fine. At least it will give us some kind of idea that how paper comes and what kind of questions they'll ask. So we'll have some idea to make preparation.
That is anyways is there. And second thing is that in your LMS, there is assessments are there. Okay, exam assessments on the AWS associate. So if you clear that 2-3 assessments are there, in that also 70% you're covering. And top of that, I am giving you the dumps. This is the second way. Third way, if you need there is one docs.amazon.aws.com one website is there. From there also you can you will be able to clear it. Okay, if you prepare all these three things along with FAQs of AWS, 90% you can pass the exam. Last week, one batch, few people has written the exam and they have cleared it with the same dumps, same documents what I have shared, everything same. They said only 5 to 7 question and answers here and there they got new, but they have cleared it. So it all depends on luck also. It all depends on how you practice also.
Sir, one question. The exam question is subjective or objective?
That is ABCDs.
Multiple choice.
Yes.
Okay.
So please share dump with me.
Sure.
Thank you.
Please share down with everyone. I did not receive that.
Okay. So no, the dumps are subjected to personal. Okay. So I will share you. It is nowhere related to this class or office. It is just to help you guys. Okay.
Okay, then please
So,
do share it with me as well.
yeah. So I will only share you offline. Whoever needs it, I will share you. It has around 450 to 600 questions. Prepare it. Definitely you can pass.
Thank you.
Okay.
Please share it.
Pardon?
Please share it.
Sure. We'll do that. Okay, so now we are starting a topic called as Route 53 DNS load balancers and all. Before that, if anybody has any other topic doubt, like no problem, you just ping me. If you want to take a special class for those topics, I am ready to take it. Not an issue at all. Okay. So now coming to the topic called as Route 53, which is a topic is all about the DNS. Okay, I think you all people know how DNS works. So let me ask a simple, easy question to everyone. If you can answer, it will be very good. So my question would be, when you browse a website, what will happen? How communication happens?
First, it communicates with the dot, that is the root domain it has, and from the dot itself, it comes the second layer of that DNS, which is com, and after that, it directly hits that actual IP, actual the site address. It get resolved in this way itself. The
Okay.
forest, it's a domain forest architecture. If you're talking about, so in this way, like a root domain, after that, a subroot domain, then and the main domain it comes. So that is what in this way the internet identified that total IP address, and then it goes at the www, that the first three letter is basically used to internet to identify the IE explorer that it is going for the web itself only.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone? Can anybody answer how exactly it works? Okay. So generally, whenever you type any domain name, like let's assume that you say www.xyz.com, right? So the first step, what will happen is that local DNS cache. Every computer means every laptop or your desktop or every computer will have something called as local DNS cache. This cache stores the information which computer has recently saved, means any information which is there in the locally. This local DNS cache means whenever you type, let's assume that you have typed www.xyz.com, right? So whenever you want to type any kind of a website or anything, right, the moment you type this website or any kind of a domain, the first thing what it will do is that it will check the local DNS cache. This local DNS cache, what it will do is that it will store the information on the computer recently provided, and based on the local DNS cache, what it will do is that it will forward that request to the ISP provider, because it needs to have the gateway. So the moment it search for the gateway, so what it does is that it queries authoritative DNS servers. Means authoritative DNS servers means in every internet there are so many global root DNS servers are there. Like for example, if you say www.google.com, www.flipkart.com, www.websun.com, www.chrome.com, www.so-and-so.com. So every domain will be registered with the domain naming servers, which we call it as public DNS, which will get registered in your platform. So whenever you register, right, so what happens is that So the moment you register these DNS servers across the globe, right? Whenever you register this gets updated globally on the, the moment you register the domain, the global root DNS servers across the globe. There are so many global root DNS servers are there. In India, we have, in US, in UK. The moment you register, it gets updated. The moment it updates, what will happen is that whenever you type this www.xyz.com or google.com, once the local DNS cache checks in locally, it should identify the ISP address, and it will send the packet to the global root DNS server, finding the domain name. So the global DNS server, what it will do is that this global DNS server will have the name servers attached, and it will find out for the records. Records are nothing but record is nothing but an information about that particular domain, nothing but the particular name server. So the once it finds the record, it will display web page. Okay. So this complete communication, the major key role is nothing but DNS, domain name system, or you can say domain name server. So what it does is that names to IP resolution or IP to names. So basically what it will do is that names to IP and IP to names, it will be converting. So that is the thing what DNS will do. So this DNS, domain naming system, it is an hierarchically a naming system for your names of different types of domains. And this domain naming system can be done in your Windows operating system, can be done in your Linux operating system, and you can also configure as a service in different cloud providers also. So this DNS, the names to IP and IP to name, right? So this, to do that, it requires the mechanism to load this DNS sync. So basically it handles 4 types of steps which are used for the DNS servers to work. One is called as DNS recursor. Second one is called as root server. Third one is called as TLD name server. Fourth one is called as authoritative name server. These are the 4 types of mechanisms what it will use in the background to work with your DNS server. So the first one, as I told you, recursive DNS resolver, but nothing but it will try to resolve it, and authoritative DNS server will try to find out the names and converts the IP, and it will check for the records, what records are there, and based on the records, it will try to communicate. So these 4 things, all the major 4 aspects on the DNS, which is nothing but, as I told you, the root name server or a root server or a DNS recursor or TLD name server or authoritative name server. These 4 are the major things which is used in the DNS to do the name resolution. Now, for example, when you type so-and-so.com, first the resolver, the local resolver, nothing but DNS cache will get resolved. Then it will forward the request to TLD. TLD means what? Top level domain, right? The top level domain. Then that will forward the request to the actual authoritative name server, and our name server will check the record. And once it finds the record, then it will resolve with the IP address, and it will provide the display page to the end user. So this mechanism of the complete DNS, domain naming system, right, is a service which can be done in your Windows operating system also, which can be installed in a Linux operating system also, or there are so many other service providers also which provides the DNS. So the job of domain naming service is nothing but names to IP, IP to names is possible with a service called as DNS service, which AWS is providing with the concept called as Route 53, with a concept called as Route 53. Okay, Route 53. Now, what is port number 53? Port number 53 is used for what? Anybody know?
DNS.
Yes, very good. So port 53 is nothing but used for DNS. So you need to understand what is the purpose of port 53. So DNS port number is route 53. Now, why this name called as Amazon Route 53 came into picture? What is the background history of this Route 53? So in general, basically this Route 53, there is in US Route 53 we say generally. This Route 53 is nothing but in United States, this one of the highway which has the most traffic, means all people travel from one location to another location, another location to another location with this route called as 53. And to get that the feel, because DNS job is also to do the routing between multiple source and destination, right? So the same to same in Amazon, they have given the name called as AWS Route 53. So this Route 53 service, what it does nothing but DNS job. DNS, what DNS? It does public and it also do private. Now you need to understand what is the difference between public DNS and private DNS. Okay, what do you mean by public DNS and what do you mean by private DNS? Public DNS is nothing but www.flipkart.com. Is it a public DNS or a private DNS?
Public DNS.
Very good. Why public DNS? Because you are able to access from the internet.
Yes.
And if you are accessing locally inside your office, we call it as private DNS. There are two types of DNS are there: public DNS and private DNS. Private DNS is nothing but locally to your office environment. We call it as private DNS. If you're accessing external, means through internet, we call it as public DNS. So we have both the options. Public DNS is also there and private DNS is also there. So both are very, very important. So DNS in AWS Route 53, it helps you to create a public DNS. It helps you to create a private DNS. So it is highly available, flexible for all the web services. It is very simple, fast, cost effective, and it can also be used to hybrid cloud environment. So if you say that I don't want to use the DNS which is provided by Windows, you can go and configure this public DNS. You can go and configure this Route 53. In the Route 53, you get options to configure this DNS. So how does this DNS works in the Route 53? So you need to understand here. As I told you, it's a highly scalable authoritative DNS service which Amazon is providing you. So where you can do a couple of things. You can do the name registration, means Route 53 helps you to provide or buy the domain names. What do you mean by domain names? Does anybody purchased any domain?
That website name is domain. .com, .in.
.com.
Yes. So there are so many. GoDaddy is there. It is also domain name provider, right? Where you can buy the domain. Same way in AWS, we have so many other services are there where you can buy the different types of domain names, like GoDaddy, like we are whois.com. These all are the different websites are there, right? To buy the domain. Same way, AWS Route 53 also you can buy the domain. You can buy the domain, you can transfer the domain, you can register the domain from AWS. So it is not free, it is chargeable. Every domain name, it is chargeable, means you can log in and you can purchase the domains. So the advantage of buying the domain is that Amazon will host that record information with AWS and it provides the name servers for the domain. So you might ask how this name servers will work and what is this domains, like how can I purchase? Can I purchase any number of domains? So you need to understand here, Amazon is giving you a feature for the domains. You can create any number of domains you want. You can host any number of domains. There is no limit as such. You can configure as many as domains you want, and you can create as many as domains you want. It is chargeable. Only thing is that the number of queries you use for the domain, right? They will be charging you on the based on the domain. So what all things you can do with the DNS in AWS is one question which you need to understand. First thing is that what you can do is one is that you can create the domain. You can configure the domain with whichever the location you want. And second thing is that you can host it, the number of DNS records. If you want to host it, you can host the records. You can do the traffic policy, means traffic shaping you can do. And you can also create multi-pathing or multi-routing. You can also create the policies you can define. So all those things you can do with the, your Route 53. So if you see my screen, so if I go to Route 53, so there are so many things as a Route 53 which features what Amazon provides. If you see on the left side, first thing I'll go with domains. So in the domains, you get option like registered domains, means you can buy the domain, means you can purchase the domain from AWS. Let's assume I want to register domain. Go to register domain. What domain name you want to purchase? Let's assume you will say that nanju.com. If I say check, it is unavailable, means somebody is already taken, right? So you can type what you need the domain. So there are cost is there. The moment you pay it, that domain will be your own domain. Okay. So basically when you buy the domain, what exactly happens? Anybody knows when you buy the domain?
Pardon, sir?
When you buy the public domain, what will happen?
We get the name servers.
So what exactly it will do? Means when you buy the public domain.
We are using it's our website, our applications. Who is host?
Okay.
It will block for us, I mean, somewhere central.
Pardon?
I mean, it will block for us, and there may be some record where it will be updated that it is taken. Or
And we are also registered in NS lookup. क्या है NS lookup?
Okay.
वो DNS रिकॉर्ड सर ऐड कराते हैं वेबसाइट के अंदर। ये अगर जो भी डोमेन परचेज करते हैं उसका DNS रिकॉर्ड ऐड करा सकते हैं। और वो टाइम पीरियड के लिए भी होता है, अगर 1 ईयर के बाद रिन्यूअल कराना पड़ता है।
Okay.
या अगर 3 ईयर के लिए लिया तो 3 ईयर के बाद रिन्यूअल कराना पड़ता है।
Okay. So what exactly happens when you buy a domain is the first question, right? So the first thing is that when you buy a domain, the domain name will be registered with ICANN people, right? So what is this ICANN? Anybody knows? Anybody is aware? ICANN is nothing but Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. This is one body. What they do is that they maintain all the cyber laws and cyber data on the IP addresses, and it's an organization which is used for assigning the names and numbers, like any kind of an internet protocol based or domain name system based details. These people are the major responsible for whenever you create or whenever you do it, right, it should be registered under this body. The moment you register this with ICANN, the moment you type or the moment you give the name, it gets updated, because these people have the global root DNS control, where the name, the moment you register with some XYZ name, this gets updated in the global root DNS server, which takes the ownership responsibility for the records as they told. So whenever you register with the name, these names can be stored across the global locations, means different locations you can store, and you can create the records. So these names, the moment, like for example, I said xyz.com, when I say register, automatically what happens is that the moment you pay that XYZ amount, okay, these people will update the DNS information in the global root DNS server for the period of time, like it can be 1 year, 2 year. So depends upon the time, how much time you are trying to use it. For example, if I go here and if I type godaddy.com, so GoDaddy is also one of the website which does this. So I can go here, and here also, from here also I can search the domain. These people also will do the same thing. So I can say, okay, Nanju 123. So if it is available, it will search. So you can see here it is available. The moment I say add to cart, it will give me the price 1,238 rupees for first year. If it is 2 years, XYZ, continue to cart, and I can start paying it. The moment I pay it, it will become my own domain, and it will be supported for 2 years, only the domain name, which means that this name will get updated in the global root DNS server, and you can host wherever you want. So the same to same what you're doing in GoDaddy, it is the same thing in your AWS also, which does the job of registering the domain. Now there is something called as transfer the domain also. What do you mean by transfer the domain? So see, now let's assume that I have registered the domain under the ownership of Amazon. Now you have purchased the domain under the ownership of GoDaddy. Now you don't want to have the ownership from GoDaddy. Everything you want to move from GoDaddy to AWS, Amazon. You can do the transfer domain. So the moment you say transfer domain, what will happen is that automatically that ownership means whoever that owning that ownership will be moved here. However, you need to provide the permission. Let's assume that I say Cube Decors, enter, right? So here it is saying cannot be transferred to Route 53. So it says that your current registrar preventing from domain to be transferred, which because I have locked this domain name, means I said in GoDaddy that this domain should not be transferable to any kind of a different domain registrar. So if you unlock it, then again it will allow you to transfer it. Basically, transferring is nothing but taking the ownership from one domain registrar to another domain registrar. Now why you might need this, why you have this domain transfer option. So only because, like, let's assume you're not happy with the GoDaddy service and their DNS servers are often giving a problem, or some XYZ service provider. What you can do is that you can move to Amazon by doing the transfer domain, so that Amazon will help you for that. So like this, you have the option for domains, registered domains, and pending domains. So if any domain requests are pending, it will show here. So these two options are there only for the domain registration, means if you, whenever you want to do the domain registration in AWS. And very important thing is that in Route 53 is called as hosted zone. So what is this hosted zone, right? So you can host your website in this particular hosted zone platform, nothing but AWS platform. Now, what do you mean by hosted zone and what do you mean by AWS hosted zone platform? You need to understand here what is the purpose of this hosted zone. Hosted zone, the main purpose is that, let's assume you want to create one public DNS or a private DNS. Public DNS means you need to buy the domain. Suppose you have not purchased the domain, but you want to use the private DNS factor. Then what you can do, you can say create hosted zone, and you can give the name and you can configure it. So either public or private, you have both the options you can create. So let me take and show you the example. Anybody has GoDaddy account? Anybody has GoDaddy account?
Not GoDaddy Bluehost, I have.
You have the login and password for the GoDaddy?
No, not GoDaddy, Bluehost I have.
Bluehost. No. I'm asking GoDaddy. 1 second.
Sir, can WordPress website also host from AWS?
What is that? What is the question?
Can do hosting of WordPress site also?
Yeah.
Same process will be follow or something?
I will tell you. Now, very good question he asked. Okay. Can I host my WordPress website in AWS? Is what the question Nishant has asked. Okay. Now, I said yes. Can anybody tell me, is it possible? If
Yes,
possible,
yes, Samir, it is possible, I think.
how it is possible?
Amazon Light Sale?
Very good. Now, is it a part of our solution architect?
No.
Then how did you got to know? Because you did some homework, right?
Right.
Same way, what I am trying to tell is that there are so many services are like that. You said only Amazon Lightsail. Elastic Beanstalk is also there, where you can do the WordPress. Through container also you can do. You can containerize the application and you can deploy, right? Through S3, you can use it for the static, and for the dynamic, you can go and install an EC2, manually install the WordPress, and then also you can host, which means that for one single WordPress, I can use so many different services, right? So there is no guarantee that you should know all the services, but you should be able to tell that yes, I can install with this also option, that also option. This we have different options. Now, if the customer asks you or a interviewer asks you why I need to go and install in Lightsail, why not I can, means you should know the difference. That is where you need to understand that particular service. Okay. Okay, 1 second. Let me log into GoDaddy so that I can show you. I'm just seeing why. Okay. Now let me click on my domains. My products. Okay. Okay. Now you are all able to see my screen, no? GoDaddy.
Yes.
Okay. So you can see here, these are the different domains I have purchased. Can you see this? Colossal Developers, Sara Interior, Cube Decor. These are the different domains I have purchased. Okay. Now I have purchased where? In GoDaddy. Okay. Now let's assume I don't want to have the ownership of GoDaddy. I want to change it to Amazon. I'll go to manage. I'll go to the DNS. Okay. I go here. Okay. So this is the DNS server. So which managed by GoDaddy. So GoDaddy is managing these servers, these records, and everything is GoDaddy is managing. Now let's assume that you don't want this domain to be used by GoDaddy. This domain you want to move it to AWS, means you want to transfer it to AWS. So what I need to do is that, can you see here? What it is written?
Domain lock is enabled.
Yeah. So what I'll do, edit. So it's saying that unlocking domains, locking prevents unauthorized changes, including transfer to another registrar. So what it means to say is that right now this colossaldevelopers.com registrar is the owner of, who is the owner of this colossal.com? GoDaddy, right? Who is the registrar? So if you say yes, I consent to unlock, and I say continue, what will happen? This will be moved to, means you, now I have made it unlock, means now I can transfer this domain from GoDaddy to a different registrar. Means today my registrar is GoDaddy. Now I want to move it to Amazon. So what I can do, my domain lock is off. What is the name of the domain? Colossal Developers. I'll copy this. Go to Route 53. Register domains. If I want to move it, click on register domain. Control V. check. So when I say register domain, obviously it will say unavailable because already GoDaddy has this domain, right? But what I can do a transfer. Now to do a transfer, what should I do? Scroll down and say cancel. Can you see this transfer domain? Click on this and type Colossal Developers and say check. Okay, wait for a second, let it refresh. Wait for a few minutes because the DNS just now we have unlocked the domain. So it will take some time. Just refresh. Go here. You go here. Domain lock. So go back to GoDaddy. Check. It is taking some more time. Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's saying a
Yeah,
reason.
it is saying one thing. So you can see here, the domain was registered less than 60 days ago because I purchased this domain recently. So it is not allowing me to do the transfer. After 60 days, I can try. So let us do one thing. Let us not touch this one. Let us try the other domain, which is the older domain. Okay. So
Hello.
go to my domain. Now what I'm doing is that I am changing this to a different name. Let me do this Sara Interior. What I'll do is that I will make the domain lock unlock from this one. Yeah, because the other domain is recently purchased, so it is not allowing. So this one is the old one. So let us see this. Okay, now I have done the unlock of this domain. Let us copy this domain. Control C and see if you're able to transfer it. Refresh and check if the domain unlock is happened or not. Yeah, domain lock is off. So now I am not able to do this Colossal Developers because it is recently purchased. It needs a 60 days time if you want to transfer it. Okay, no problem. I am enter. Can you see this now? What it is saying? SaraInterior.com can be transferred to Route 53. If I want, I can transfer. I can say add to cart. And the moment I pay this amount, if I go here, scroll down, continue, put my credit card details, and I need to pay this. So before paying this, it will ask me the authorization code. So which means that your GoDaddy means from the GoDaddy, if I want to move, I will get an email with this domain name because I purchased this domain. I will get an email. I need to approve that I am okay to move from GoDaddy. Then only you can move the registrar from GoDaddy to Route 53. You understood? You're clear? How to transfer
Hello.
the domain?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Samir.
Yeah.
Samir, I have one doubt. This domain I'm transferring from GoDaddy to Route 53, right? So why we are choosing transfer domain from Route 53? Means पहले मैंने एक बार ये ट्रांसफर करके देखा है GoDaddy से दूसरे अकाउंट में.
So
तब
why do
मैंने
we need
ये
to, okay, why do we need to transfer the domain? See,
नो
generally,
नहीं ऐसा नहीं. मेरा क्वेश्चन क्या था, मतलब लास्ट टाइम जो मैंने डोमेन ट्रांसफर किया था ना GoDaddy टू GoDaddy, तब मैंने प्रोसेस क्या की थी कि मेरे अकाउंट से जो दूसरा अकाउंट है, तो बेसिकली मैंने मेरे अकाउंट से ट्रांसफर का ऑप्शन सिलेक्ट किया और जो नेक्स्ट बंदा है उसको वो अप्रूवल का ऑप्शन आया था, उसने वो एक्सेप्ट किया, फिर वो डोमेन ट्रांसफर हो गया उसके पास. तो ये प्रोसेस मैंने की थी, लेकिन अभी जो मैं देख रहा हूँ राउट 53 में, तो जो ट्रांसफर हमें हमारे GoDaddy के अकाउंट में करना है तो वो राउट 53 में करना है, तो ऐसा क्यों, वो पूछना था।
मीन्स यू सेइंग दैट राउट 53 में करना है, मतलब बिकॉज यहाँ पर राउट 53 में मैं कर रहा हूँ बिकॉज आई वांट टू मूव फ्रॉम GoDaddy टू राउट 53।
हाँ, बट GoDaddy के अकाउंट से हम लोग कर रहे हैं, तो GoDaddy के अकाउंट में कुछ ऑप्शन नहीं है क्या ट्रांसफर का, कि डायरेक्ट वो राउट 53 में ट्रांसफर हो जाए।
यू आर सेइंग दैट
लाइक अगर आप उधर देखोगे, इधर ट्रांसफर डोमेन अवे फ्रॉम GoDaddy या फिर अनदर GoDaddy अकाउंट, तो वैसे कर सकते हैं क्या हम लोग
हाँ
डायरेक्ट?
कर सकते हैं ना। आपको अगर आपको यहाँ नहीं चाहिए, मतलब डायरेक्टली GoDaddy से आपको डिफरेंट डोमेन में ट्रांसफर करना है तो ट्रांसफर कर सकते हो, बट द प्रॉब्लम क्या है, वो लेंथी प्रोसेस होता है, ऑथराइजेशन कोड, रिवर्स ऑथराइजेशन कोड लेना पड़ता है। ओके तो अगर अमेजोन से डायरेक्टली ले सकता हूँ तो अमेजोन विल डू माय जॉब, सो आई नो नीड टू डू लॉट ऑफ हेडेक, मींस आई डोंट नीड टू टेक द ऑथराइजेशन कोड हियर, गिव द डिटेल्स, सो मेनी थिंग्स नॉट रिक्वायर्ड, एवरीथिंग AWS will take care.
Okay.
Okay, but you can do from both the sides.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is one option where you can buy and you can transfer the domains. Okay. Okay. Now what is this hosted zones? Okay. Now where is this hosted zone is useful? So as I told you, like Route 53 in GoDaddy, you purchasing the domain is one option, right? So what is the other options you have in the thing like that you need to understand. So domain buying is nothing but you're only owning the registrar. But what about the hosting the domain? Means somebody want to host it, somebody want to use it, right? So they need to have the space, a storage space or a server space to host this domain. So domain name you have taken from GoDaddy, domain name you have taken from Route 53. Now you want to host it, host a website. What is that you needed? So let me ask you all a simple question. Everyone knows this. Now don't tell you don't know. How to host a website? What is that needed?
Hosting account.
So basically we have to buy hosting first, and after buying hosting we get name servers, and this
No,
name
forget
server.
about the DNS part. What I'm asking is that I want to host a website. What is that needed? Forget about DNS. Apart from DNS, what is that you need?
Just need a hosting
Storage.
Server.
We need
What?
IIS. IIS.
Okay, some people said server, some people said IAS,
Storage.
some people said storage.
Third-party application like Wildfly or Apache.
Okay. Okay. First thing, to host a website, you need a platform, which is nothing but it can be a operating system with Windows or Linux, right? You can install your website either in a Windows operating system or a Linux operating system, correct? Or you can install a website in Docker, or Amazon has a service called as Lightsail or Elastic Beanstalk, right? Like this, we have different options to host a website. So basically what all I need is that simple one operating system is required. Inside the OS, I need IAS if it is Windows. If it is Linux, I need Apache. And top of that depends upon what kind of a website it is. Website also nowadays you have so many different modern websites are coming. I think you all people know PHP. Have you heard PHP website?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So there are modern different modern websites are coming in the market. Have you heard about Joomla?
Yes.
What is this?
CMS.
Very good.
Like WordPress.
JS, JavaScript,
Yes.
right? So what is this? These all things, right? Website technologies, right? So people can use different technologies to build a website. So there, some people will use Java, some people will use PHP, some people will use WordPress, right? Some people will use AngularJS, some people will use Ruby on Rails. I'm not sure how many people are heard about all these things, correct? Some people, if they don't know anything, they can go and use directly HTML, a plain vanilla website, correct? So different technologies are there for using the website, right? AngularJS, React, Vue.js, Flutter, and so many different technologies came into the market to use the website. Whether it can be a PHP website, or whether it can be a WordPress website, or whether it can be a AngularJS, Node.js, Ruby on Rails, any technology, the backend is required, nothing but an operating system with the IIS or Apache, or a container, or an Elastic Beanstalk, or any kind of a service. A platform is required. Basically, what you require, a platform is required to host a website, right? So now, to host a website, how the platform is very much important. Same way, your DNS is also very much important, because now you can host a website. Okay, your developer will write a code, you will host a website, you will upload the content, everything is fine. But how that content will work without having the DNS configured? So there are three people who are working into this system. So how means, you need to understand. Developer will write the code and provide to application hosting team, right? And admin will configure the, if it is server, they will configure the server and provide the access to upload the code, right? And the third is that admin will configure a load balancer or a DNS server to route it. So when you want to host a website, it is a job of two different people. One is a developer is also there, one is the admin also there. Will developer will know, will he know about what DNS he need to create, what load balancer he need to create, what record he need to create? He will not know, because he is a coding guy. He will be mostly focusing on getting the codes defined, right? He can create and configure the code, means he can configure the code and he can upload the code and all those things he can do. And what about the admin can do the job of creating the server and providing the connectivity, and all those things is a job of your admin. So what you need to understand is that a website hosting requires a background platform, which will be done by your AWS architect or AWS admin or AWS solutions guy. Okay, writing a code, providing a code to the admin is a job of your developer. So what you need to understand here is that both need to work together if they want to implement the solution of application or web hosting or any kind of a hosting platform. So same way how GoDaddy is a hosting service, Amazon is also has the hosting service. Now you can host through services. If you go, you can host in EC2, you can host in Lightsail, you can host in Lambda, you can host in Beanstalk, you can host in serverless application tools. So all these are the different types of hosting services which you have, right? So now that hosting platform, what you can do is that if you're hosted in AWS, right, you can, if you don't want to host the DNS records in GoDaddy, like here we have sarainterior.com. If I go here, now this sarainterior.com domain provider is GoDaddy. and GoDaddy is managing the complete DNS, right? If I go to manage DNS, this GoDaddy is managing the complete DNS. If I don't want to manage the DNS, so here I have changed it to AWS. If I don't want to manage the AWS, and if I want to make it GoDaddy, then what will happen? Everything will be managed by GoDaddy only. Now, if I don't want to use it, GoDaddy, if I want to change everything to Amazon, you can change it by configuring the name servers. So if you configure the name servers in Amazon, what will happen is that Amazon will take care of the complete name servers, records, and everything, so that your GoDaddy doesn't hold any responsibility for the domain naming service. You can see here your records, all records, address record, CNAME record, name server record, SOI record, every records are managed and maintained by GoDaddy. Now you don't want to do that, then Amazon has a feature called as nothing but hosted zone, where you can create a hosted zone. Like for example, go and create a hosted zone. Let us say that xyz.com, some website name I'm giving, some example, and here you have an option, public hosted or a private hosted. Public means accessing via internet, private means local. So go and say create hosted zone. The moment you create a hosted zone, it will allow you to configure the records. So you can see here, create record, one option is there. If I go and create a record, here I get all kinds of record types are there. Now you will get a doubt, sir, what is this records is all about? So records are nothing but, why will you go to register office? So register office is a place where you register all kinds of records, right? Same way here, it is all kinds of records can be created and managed by GoDaddy. So like address record, CNAME record, mail exchanger record, right? Alias record. So same way, all these records will be managed by DNS providers, which can be GoDaddy or Route 53. So they create, you can manage all these records. So basically, it is a registrar where it will hold all kinds of records for the communication of your internal website or queries. So these records are very, very much useful for your environment to configure and talk to multiple platforms. So AWS provides you these records with the help of Route 53, where it can manage all kinds of records in your AWS platform. So these are the address record, CNAME record, MX record, pointer record. All these records you can configure with the help of Route 53. And wildcard, alias record, as I told you, right? These all records you can create, and you can also create private hosted zone and public hosted zone. If you want to communicate internally, then you can configure private. If you want to communicate externally, then you can configure public. And this Route 53 has again certain policies are there, means nothing but they have something called as DNS policies. So now everyone are trying to, so let's assume that you have procured a domain called as www.sarainterior.com. Now everyone in the internet, they'll browse sarainterior.com and they will get the website. Now how the load balancing should happen on the DNS? So Amazon is providing some routing policies. So what is this routing policies? If you go to the DNS, every DNS server will have certain routing policies. So if you see here, routing policies are defined as simple routing policies, weighted routing policies, geolocation routing policies, and latency based routing policies, and failover policy, and multi-value answer policy. Now what is this routing policies in your Route 53? So why do I need to have a routing policies? So very simple. Whenever you create a record, right, that record need to know how the data should transfer and how it should communicate, how it should query between source and destination. So simple routing policy is nothing but it's a single resource function. Just you created it, just connected. So it's a simple routing, means you configure www.soandso.com. It is not configuring or creating any kind of an mechanism. It is just routing the traffic. That is called a simple routing. When I say failover routing, nothing but active passive. Suppose if this DNS is down, go via secondary DNS. Now you want failover policy. Geolocation means when you want to route the traffic based on the location of users, means suppose some people are connecting in from India, some people are connecting from US, some people are connecting from UK. You want to define location based, then you can define, the load balancer, like, which load balancer you want to use in the background for that record information. That is your location based policy. Geo routing policies. So geo routing is again one more policy which we have, which is called as geo routing policies, which was very famous policy before. Now what they did is that they have that geo routing is nothing but proximity based policy. Now they merged this geo routing and geo location into a single policy. Before it used to be there. So what this geo routing policy is to do is that it shifts the traffic between the resources. Now they have removed it. Now they have made it a single policy called as geolocation policy. And the latency routing policies. Latency means based on the region, whenever you have the resources in multiple AWS regions and you want to route the traffic to the region that provides a latency, best latency. Means, for example, you have like Mumbai is there, you have Singapore is there, you have US is there. Whichever is giving you the best latency, means faster access, it will connect via that particular solution. So latency based policy. So this is also one of the solution which Amazon is giving you, and you can define the regions what you want. The same way, geolocations, you can define which locations you want. Okay, like this you can define the policies. Now weighted policy is also there, one more policy you can see here, weighted base. So what do you mean by weighted policy? So weighted is nothing but used to route the traffic based on the proportions you specify. Means like the number of queries you want to specify, number of connections you want to specify for the records. That is basically on the weight based on, like, for example, this query is 50, 100, 200, 300, like this you want to define. But the weight you need to define proportion to your ports what you have been defined. So this is also one of the policy which they are providing you on the DNS server. Or multi-value answer. Multi-value answer is purely based on your health check, right? So how your DNS query need to validate based on the health records. So if your proper health records are up to 8 health records, you can define. So you can define the health checks, and based on the health checks, if you want to manage the routing, that also possible. So all these are what? These all are the routing policies, how you want to route. When you say simple routing policy, you are not attaching any kind of parameter, you're directly creating it. So all these are what? These all are the routing policies. So basically your DNS will, in the Amazon Route 53, you can host it, you can configure the routing policies, you can create the environment, and you can define how your queries need to be routed. So Amazon will help you in hosting the zone. Amazon will help you to create a private and public DNS. Amazon will help you to configure the records. Amazon will help you. Amazon Route 53 will be helping you to configure the routing policies. Amazon will help you for configuring your what is that? We say that domain name registration, and also the migrating the name registration server from one location to another location. All these are the features what Amazon will do. Apart from it, if you ask me, sir, what is the pricing cost of Amazon Route 53? Amazon Route 53 pricing depends upon what kind of pay methods you're using. So basically, they are charged based on the use case to use case. So some are query based charges, like the number of queries we use. Like first, if they're getting first 1 billion queries, there is some XYZ charges there, like www.soandso.com. I have been accessed from Google. Let's assume that I went to web page, and I said Sara in xyz.com. Just take an example like xyz.com. Like that number of queries it gets from the DNS. Up to first 1 billion queries per month, it is $0.50. And over more than 1 billion queries, they'll charge you 0.20. If it is standard queries, again depends. Latency based queries, the charges are different. And traffic flow, again there is the charges are different. So like this, based on the queries, you will be charged for your DNS server. All these are the advantages of going with your Route 53. Any questions?
Samir, what is TTL?
Time to live.
Where we can use?
Pardon? What is that?
Why we use?
Why we use a
Yes.
health checks?
It's not getting. How can it's like working?
See, time to live is nothing but if you want to define the record type with your time to live is nothing but so TTL value, right? So it is for your basically when you define a records, right? Routing policies, you can define time to live like number of seconds you are, you have been using for that particular communication for the routing the traffic. For example, you have records, a record is there, alias record is there, canonical name is there, mail exchange is there, pointer records are there. Now, how do you define all these things? These all things will define based on the number of seconds for the communication, right? So the amount of time in seconds you want to define for the DNS to communicate, you need to define with TTL. TTL means nothing but the communication to your source and destination with the help of records. So that you need to define in seconds. So TTL is nothing but a value which you need to define for your health check to perform the communication.
So it can be anything. Means what we are giving.
सेटअप बॉक्स रिचार्ज के लिए 8 को 9 को खलास हो रहे हैं तो देख लेंगे 8 को 8 मार्च.
Okay. Sir, this Rod 53 service is chargeable or the domains we register only those are chargeable?
No, it is chargeable. As I told you just now, the number of queries you do it up to 1 billion queries. I told you, $0.20 is there. Charge is there.
Samir, route 53, there is a two type, private and public. Public, Amazon or GoDaddy, they will manage. But private, how?
No. I didn't told like that. I said public DNS, private DNS. You can buy the public DNS from Amazon also. You can buy the public DNS from GoDaddy also. Private means I told you local DNS server. I didn't told you that it is external. Private DNS is nothing but which doesn't communicate to the external world. Public DNS is nothing but which can connect to external world.
Yeah.
So there is no real relation between GoDaddy and this. So in AWS also you can configure public DNS. In AWS also you can create a private DNS.
Sir, can you show me an example of this private DNS configuration?
Private DNS is nothing but local DNS cache. So one second. The same thing what you're doing, you can create your local DNS. So have you ever
प्राइवेट DNS ऐसा कुछ रजिस्ट्रेशन तो लगता नहीं होगा, राइट?
नहीं होगा. पब्लिक DNS के लिए डोमेन नेम चाहिए, प्राइवेट DNS के लिए लोकल है.
So that should not be chargeable, right? Once we register a public domain, then creating
private DNS is free, public DNS is chargeable. Test123.com, scroll down. You need to provide your VPC. You need to define your VPC and region because it is for local. Which region you want? Mumbai. And you need to define your VPC. Scroll down. So any LAN user can access this.
So Samir, I have a question here. AWS come into the picture and AWS providing the private DNS. Before that, how the company will manage?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is one service. You don't want to go with AWS, then go to Windows Server and install DNS server manually.
Okay. Then we will manage one hardware, right? Server.
Yes.
Okay.
Just go to the Windows Server, install DNS service. पता है ना आपको फाइल सर्वर मैनेजर पे जाइए, add roles and service पे जाइए, वहां पर DNS को install करो. That's a normal process. You don't want to use the AWS private DNS service, then go and configure your own DNS service. That's what I told you, that Amazon is giving a feature, a service. Now you might get a doubt, sir, why this Amazon is giving you when we can do it in our Windows and Linux? Means a smaller organization will be there. Okay, very, very small organization. They really don't want to set up Windows servers and create DNS and all those things. They want a ready-made solution for their local network resources. So they can simply go and configure the private DNS server from Amazon Route 53 rather than installing Windows, managing Windows and all those things.
Yes, got it. Got it, Samir.
Any other
We can use
questions?
this. We can use this private DNS for internal communications.
Yes, local network communication. That's the reason it was asking you VPC. Why? Because to communicate between your internal machines, not the external machine.
Okay.
Okay.
When we're creating DNS from AWS, that we need Elastic IP.
Can you? I couldn't hear that, Simanta. What is it? When I create AWS, what?
When we create the DNS, public DNS from AWS to AWS, so do you need the Elastic IP?
No. So public DNS is nothing but the moment you configure the public DNS, you need to associate with the IP address. Okay, public IP address. It can be a public or elastic IP address. So by default, when you create a public DNS, whichever the hosting server you want to host it, that should have a public IP.
Okay. Means in the instance, EC2.
Yes, yes. It can be EC2 instance. It can be a Docker. It can be Elastic Beanstalk. It can be anything.
Samir, I know how I can host the website on the IIS, but how can host in the Docker and Elastic means? Is there a server?
No. So if you want to host it in Elastic, ECS we call, that is Elastic Container Service or a Docker, you need to make it as a package. So for that, you need to understand what is Docker and other things. It is a DevOps part, but we have an overview session for that. I will let you know that time. Okay. Like how you have Windows in Linux installing, same way you need to create something called as Docker image, and then you need to upload that content there. So there is something called Docker repository. From there you will download and you will make it as a package and you will install it. So that it's out of your topic, but what we can do is that when we discuss about overview topic, that time I'll explain you.
Okay, no problem.
Sir, I have one question apart from course. Can I ask?
Hanji?
I have one question apart from course. Can I ask?
Yeah, ask.
What is AWS Secret Manager?
Okay, what is this AWS Secret Manager? Okay, how many people know about this? Anybody want to answer? Anybody want to answer? Okay, so basically AWS Secret Manager is nothing but it's a service, okay? So which helps you to protect your applications and IT resources with all kinds of keys, everything in a centralized location where you want to rotate your keys and everything. So do you know, right, in the olden days, you used to have so many passwords before single sign-on came into the picture. Do you remember?
Yes.
Now single sign-on came, you are just logging in one application with one password, you're able to access everything. Okay. Before, what used to happen is that before administrator's job used to be hell. There will be hundreds of access they need to log in, and every time they need to remember each and every password. Okay. Or a developer which they want to integrate, they need to have so many API keys. So the Secret Manager is a solution where they can define everything. It will create one general passcode where you can integrate and you can use it, so that with a single key you can integrate, and it's a secret key which will manage all kinds of service information. Okay, so this is one of the service which is there with AWS.
Can we use it cross region?
Pardon?
Can we use that in cross region?
That you need to check if they have given. Before it was not there. I'm not sure if they have added it or not. Just you need to check in the service.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir, please update the title over the LMS which video has uploaded there.
Okay.
They are showing by date, not subject title.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Samir, did we cover CloudFront?
No. We are not at went till there.
Okay.
Any other questions? Any other doubts?
Yes, sir. What is the database load balancing?
What is that?
What is the database load balancing?
We will come. Load balancer I have not yet started for you guys.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
So
guys.
Samir, tomorrow we will cover load balancing, right?
Yes. Route 53 still it is there. Few things. Then we will discuss about load balancer and auto scaling.
Okay, and also I will ask some of the questions on the Route 53 which we have covered today. I'll ask tomorrow.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Samir, one more thing. Tomorrow 8:30, what we'll be doing?
8:30 storage. I will send you the link for people who is not.
And Samir, one request I would like to place right now that if we want to prepare for interview, do you have any set of questions or set of ideas what we can apply
for interview?
Yeah.
I will send you the document. Ping me offline.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Samir. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Samir.